Afternoon, everybody. I'm your co-host, Anthony, here with Orange County Realtors. Welcome to today's class on zipForm's advanced tools and tips. Again, my name is Anthony. I'm one of your co-hosts slash trainers today to go over zipForm's advanced tools. Just a little intro of who I am as people are beginning to clock on in. My name is, again, Anthony. I work here at Orange County Realtors. Been here now for almost 19 years. Started off in the MLS department, so I know guaranteed I'll speak to everybody regarding rules, regulations, violations, all that fun stuff. What I'm also involved with is our outreach program. Our outreach program is designed to give training to our agents for all your tools and products. So not only does Leo and I train on zipForms, but we also train on MLS. So we show agents how to add and modify listings, create CMAs, all that fun stuff. We also love training on technology because we love showing agents how they can utilize technology to better their real estate transactional lives, whether it's MLS access, app access, or any of the third-party member benefit tools offered by CRMLS, NAR, CAR, and of course, Orange County Realtors. Today, who we have with us today, who is our head lecturer and trainer for today, Leo Loera. Leo, can you tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Hi, everybody. My name is Leo Loera. I'm with the Orange County Realtors. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I've been with the association since 2007. That's almost pretty close to 14 years right now. I started off in membership and progressed over to becoming the super key specialist. And so I'm still your go-to person for Supra. And also, I also do outreach. I also teach a number of different topics through our association. We did some membership, did a little bit of Supra long ago, and now we're concentrating on zipForms today. So that's today's class. We're going to talk about some of the advanced tips, features of zipForms that hopefully would be beneficial for you and hopefully save you time and energy while you're doing a transaction. We're going to go over these topics today, and this class is going to be scheduled for 2 hours, but it's really averaging about an hour and 15 minutes to talk about all these materials, all this information. So let's start off with mutually exclusive checkbox field. Wow, that's a lot of words. Sounds very high tech, but really it's not that scary. It's easy to understand, so I will go over that with you. Auto adding addendum, and there's text overflow addendum, clause manager, creating a checklist, and creating a listing transaction within using RPR, misread it, and then the share function. So let's begin. Mutually exclusive checkbox field. Now this brings back memories from my logic class at my junior college long ago. Things that were just crazy to say out loud. Like if A, not B. All right, if A, not B. In this case, we're going to look at the RPA contract, residential purchase agreement. So if an all cash offer, then you can't have loan information. So there's no such thing as both. Let's look at page 1 of the RPA, section 3C and 3D. So I'm going to go dive deep into it. And we're going to look at the RPA contract. And oops, we'll skip on that wire. Okay, so 3, here we go. Let's make this a little bit easier to read. There we go. Okay. So right here in number 3. So here's the all cash offer, and then here's loans right underneath it. So if I do an all cash offer, if I click it, look what's going to happen to this section down here. Boom. Yep, nothing. You can't click anything here. Well, you click it, but it really doesn't do anything. It's asking you like, what? What? This was put together long ago because there were agents who were putting in all cash offer and then were putting in loan information. That made it very confusing at the time of negotiations. Like, how can you have an all cash offer and you still have loan information? That just doesn't make sense because all cash is all cash. It's a logic class. So if I were to remove that, then you see this information here. And you can be able to check whatever box is here. So you won't be able to do an all cash offer because if you do it, all the loan information disappears. There we go, see? And it reappears. Okay, so that's easy to understand. So that's mutually exclusive. There are a few cases in which you may run into that. This is just a prime example of what you may see, because if you ever click it and then you figure like, what happened? Why did all that disappear? Well, it's probably an example of mutually exclusive. That's an example of what we're covering today.
So basically you're saying, Leo, you can't select something that's totally opposite of what the current term is, correct?
That is correct. Yes. So if I offer you all cash and then I say, oh, what about this loan? No, 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 no. That means it's a deposit and a loan. Okay. Let's go into the next part of it. Auto adding addendum. A lot of A's, like AAA. If you click that, you will be including a form. Then zipForms will automatically add that form. And I'll show you how to do that. We're going to look at the residential purchase agreement, page 2, section 5. Addenda and advisory. So as we open that up, it's right over here. Scrolling down. Oh, look at, here we are. So here's the addenda and advisory. So in this contract, the residential purchase agreement, if we're indicating that I need to add a probate advisory, it says here, we've added the probate advisory. See, right up there. If you click in here, it says, I need to add the statewide buyer and seller advisory. Then it says up here, statewide buyer and seller advisory. So as you're looking at like, well, how do I know that's true? Well, over here to the left, it says my forms. You click my forms. And you see on the list of forms that probate's been added and statewide buyer and seller has been added. So like, let's say that for some reason, and if you really wanted to see the all the forms, we can go back and say that, oh, okay, there's the probate and there is the statewide buyer advisory or statewide buyer and seller advisory. So if this was added by accident, then you can click this and this to delete it. It would be right there, that button to delete it. If you, instead of doing that, you can also just simply click these little 3 buttons and delete it that way. So whatever's easiest for you. So let's say that the probate's been added mistakenly and we click the delete button right up here. So I'm clicking delete. It says, are you sure? Like, yes, I'm gonna delete it. So, but, and here's the big but, we have to go into the RPA contract and uncheck mark it off because that doesn't automatically go away. So you have to do both. So if you accidentally add it, you have to uncheck mark that and remove it. So it's a nice tool. So that way, because in the past you had to click yes, and then you had to go to all forms, add the form, and then you fill out the form there. So this is just much easier because that way you won't forget that you have to do the probate advisory in this example. So it's a really nice tool that often take it for granted. Okay, how are we doing so far? So 2 big things already, mutual exclusive and auto adding addendum. It's a lot.
And by any chance, did most of you all ever notice this tool or these tools before, or were aware of these tools?
Or perhaps you just clicked it, didn't know there was a name for this tool, auto adding addendum.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we got to show you something pretty fun and new today.
So moving on to the next one, text overflow addendum. Now this will automatically add an addendum when the text is more than the display field. Text overflow addendum, the TOA form, will be added to the end of the documents list. And we'll show you that in just a moment. It's going to display the contract page and the section, and I'll show you that. And can be used in any contract requiring text. So it's not going to be in every section. Just some sections will allow you to use this. And can be, will automatically add more TOA forms if the first page is complete. So if you have 1 page complete of all this extra text from a particular contract and you filled out that page, it'll automatically add another TOA form, text overflow addendum. Let's go ahead and give that a shot and see what that looks like. Oh, okay. So I guess we could pick on this. So in this section, we're talking about addenda and advisories. And if I start, maybe a little bit something is not as much. Ah, here we go. Perfect. Only 2 lines. So I'm going to write down start. And I'm just hitting a bunch of letters on the keyboard, and it's just, just adding, and just adding a lot of, let's throw some numbers in there too, and adding,
So
and
honestly, this is all great for when you have to be super wordy on a document. So maybe
yes,
you have to talk about where these finances are coming from for the buyer. Like, not only do they have $50,000 in savings, but they're getting an extra or a gift from mom and dad of an extra $50,000. Then, of course, they have to transfer funds out of their Swiss bank account of $150,000. And of course, they just recently won the California Mega Millions of $1.8 billion.
that's my money. Or another example would be in the in the agent visual inspection, you wrote down some details as what you witnessed when you walked into the property, and that you think should be notated on there. Because like when you send out a tweet, it's only 140 characters, or if the initial one could be 140 characters, but you are not limited to that size, so you can keep on describing things. So in this particular text that I put in, it ends with the word end. So in case you're wondering, like, okay, it didn't display everything because I see the word start and doesn't show the word end. Where is it? Where'd it go? Well, if I go and click more and I click preview, it's going to show where it's at. Because your concern is like, where'd it go? So if you scroll down, I'm being very patient. I don't want to skip it. There it is. Oh, where'd you go, my friend? Where did you go, my friend? Right there. See text overflow addendum, CAR form TOA, paragraph 1. So you're like, okay, let's go take a look. I'm dropping it like gravity, and there it is. So all that information that I just typed in appears right there, including the word end. So as you see, you can be able to not be constrained to the size, the space that's allotted to you. You can take advantage of it and put in as much information as you need to, and it will automatically add the text overflow addendum when it's available. When it's required. So no longer are you, in the past, are you saying see page RPA paragraph 3A. You're no longer doing that and you coming up with a TOA form and inputting all this information. It automatically does it for you. So that's automatically going to save you time and energy. So that's a text overflow addendum. And of course, you're not going to see it here because, well, it's not going to show there. Whoa, that's a weird number. It's an error message of some sort. So that's an example of text overflow addendum. Okay. Any questions with that? I hope not, because it seems like a very simple and straightforward form.
So far, no questions.
Okay. Now here's a fun one. Now in our last class, we talk about templates. And for those who don't know what a template is, when we do a transaction and we start noticing a pattern with our transactions, like for example, a purchase offer. We notice that when we put together a transaction, we put the cover sheet, the residential purchase agreement. Maybe we'll put in a AVID form, agent visual inspection. Last month, we put in a PED form and so on. And then of course, the Orange County disclosure form. And we noticed that we had to do this over and over and over again with certain transactions. And when you get to a point, you realize, well, why don't I just use a template of all these forms, put it together, cover sheet, RPA, agent visual inspection, AVID form, and the Orange County disclosure, if I put a template together of those forms, whatever else I need, if I click a button, it'll automatically populate those forms onto my transaction, which we showed in our last class. Excuse me, the first class. This works on the same kind of idea. So a clause manager is verbiage that you maybe use for often needed forms or for forms that are rarely used because they require specific wording. Like for example, if you're working doing a probate transaction, you probably don't do probate transactions all that often. So where there's an occasion where you have to use a probate, do a probate transaction, maybe there's specific wording that your broker has said, in this certain section, I need you to put in this wording. So you'll save it as a clause, and I'll show you how to do it. And then you're going to populate that clause when it's required. The personal clauses are ones created by the user, you. Library clauses are from the broker. So if it's the broker has paid for the broker edition, they're going to be able to take advantage of this library clause. So we're going to create a clause, put a category together, a clause title, clause wording, and then the pencil icon. We're going to take a look at that. So let's go and play with clauses. And you're probably thinking, well, I don't remember seeing anything about clauses. Well, like, okay, we're going to play with clauses. And here we are. So this is our page. This is the transaction page. You see all my transactions here. And then you see RPR, import, new, and then these transaction tools. And the first choice is Clause Manager. So there's no library clauses because my broker has not put in any clauses that I should be aware of. And then there's this one. Yeah, I can get rid of that one. Close, delete clause. So we're going to put one together, brand new one. Okay, so here's a new clause. New clause. Category. So you're going to input a category, but in the past I have created a category of seller, and I've done buyers as well. Oh, let's do it buyer. Buyer. And buyer title at close escrow. Just putting something together. Text. So this is obviously nothing you're going to ever put down, but this is just showing you how to use the software. Seller will provide seller will provide chocolate chip cookies at close of escrow. How's that? So you're thinking, well, that's kind of goofy. Yeah, it is goofy. I get it. And then if we do another one, seller. Buyer. Okay, we'll choose this one from the past. Buyer terms at closing. Oop. There we go. Buyer will provide Okay, I see some of your eyes are rolling, but I'm just showing you how to use the software. Obviously, you're not going to put this down. You're not going to put this down as what's required for a transaction. And I know you're like, oh, that's so funny. That's so dorky. But I just want you to understand how to use the software, because obviously what you're going to put in is going to be more detail oriented. It's going to be related to a specific situation. I'm just showing you how to use it, use the software. So let's going to look at, I don't know, let's talk about the residential purchase agreement. Oh, let's put it in, let's get rid of this section here. Let's get rid of this section. Okay, can delete all that. And you notice that there's this little icon here, this little pencil. And this pencil has different meanings. This pencil could be either, this icon means clause manager, and I'll describe what these mean in just a moment after we put that clause in there. So I'm going to choose a clause. We're going to choose the category of buyer, at close of escrow. If I had more than one clause, I would see the drop-down menu for the different ones, but I only have one. There's the clause that I'm going to use, and it's going to insert it right there. Seller will provide chocolate chip cookies at close of escrow. And then if we scroll down, and then we could put down, say, another one, you'll understand that seller, buyer terms at closing. Buyer will provide beverages at time of closing for the chocolate chip cookies. So once again, I'm just showing you how to use the software. This is kind of goofy, but I wanted you to see what it looked like.
And Leo, can you actually add in multiple clauses to one line?
Yes. So let's give an example. And we'll add another one. Buyer will provide beverages, seller will provide chocolate chip cookies. See, I put them together. So you can stack one after another after another. That's all. Just wherever you drop off the this cursor at, you can add another one if you wanted to. Now, one thing I do want to point out is this. So these different letters have a meaning. So the way it is, I capitalized just the first letter at the beginning of the sentence, and everything else was lowercase. But if I click this is now going to put more emphasis on what's written. So the first letter, if you see it, is now going to be capitalized. Buyer will provide beverages at time. You can see the whole thing. Every word starts with a capital letter. If you want to de-emphasize on it, then everything's lowercase. See, everything's lowercase. If you want to make them all capital letters to make it stand out more so, you can do so, which makes it easier to read with our eyes. Buyer will provide beverages at time of closing for the chocolate chip cookies. Seller will provide chocolate chip cookies at close of escrow for buyer. So it's easier to see, because in case you wanted the target audience to be able to see this as an important area that you wanted to focus on, you can use this. If you're wanting to put it as the way I wrote it originally, you can't do that. So this is the three choices. Once you do this, then you can't go with the first letter being capitalized. That's all. So the clause manager is a great tool to use. You'll see all kinds of different situations. You'll run into different situations where you may have to use that. So it's a
And it's
tool.
Great for situations where your broker has said when a new form comes out, or if you're using a particular form for whatever situation, you should always say XYZ in that form. Make that verbiage that your broker or your risk management department has instructed you to do. Make those into clauses. That way you don't have to memorize all this verbiage that everybody tells you should need to remember. At least you have all that, outlined in your personal clauses.
Yeah, you can do another one where 13 days prior to closing, all concessions are met prior to closing. You come up with a verbiage that's appropriate for the situation you're in. You could put it down if it's something that you're going to see on a regular basis, or something that's going to be unique. And when that happens, it's going to be ready for you to use when when you call upon it. So it's there for you. You can write down a whole list of different clauses. You may want to talk to your broker if you're a salesperson or broker associate as to what clauses will be used in a given situation, and start inputting all those clauses there. And once again, it's under transaction tools on the transaction page. Just click it right there, click clause manager, go to personal clauses, and just start clicking new clauses. And make sure you put it under the right category as well. Of course, you can describe the category differently. This is just something I put together. And then maybe perhaps your brokerage already has a list of clauses. You can import those as well. Okay. So that is a nice tool to use. Let's not make that so big, because it's really screaming at me, all this whole transactions. All right. Are we done yet? No, we're not done yet. Creating a listing transaction using RPR. Realtor only benefit, Realtor's property resource. How many have never heard of or have never used RPR?
And a quick show of hands, you can click on the raise your hand icon at the bottom of your screen. I've got 4 or 5, I've got about 4 people right now out of our 16, Leo, that have never heard of or used RPR. So what is RPR?
The Realtor's property resource. I love saying just saying that. I love saying it. The Realtor's property resource. Let me move this around. Okay. Now I normally would, gosh darn it, this little bar tool's in the way. There we go. Let's go this way, make it like this. There we go. There we go. So the Realtor's property resource is a tool that designated for, it's allowed only for realtors nationwide. So at the very least, it'll pull in tax information, loan information, school information, comps, and estimated values of the property, etc. Let me show you how to find it. So when we first log into MLS and you're a realtor with us, it's one of the tools here, the Realtor's property resource, RPR. Now, if you've never set up an account, you're going to go through a setup process.
And by the way, this is free for being NAR realtors.
Yes. So I have previously linked my RPR account. And once I've linked my RPR account, I can be able to pull it from CRMLS because you want CRMLS, RPR to work hand in hand. So if you haven't done so in the past, you're going to be able to set it up. You're going to create, you have to need your 9-digit national realtor number. It's your national realtor database system ID. If you don't know what that is, you will have to either contact our association to get that information, or you can go online and there's some links to be able to get that. And in case you're wondering what the website is, it's narrpr.com. In fact, I will do something better. I'm already logged in, so it's going to have my initial there. But if you're looking at this website for the first time, there are blogs you can take a look at. I encourage you to look at the blog. There are a lot of training information here that you can refer to. Because if you've never seen this, it's a fantastic tool to use. And it's a tool that you can lean on time and time again. So do take a look at this. And you also probably receive the emails from NAR about using RPR. And it pulls in not only residential information, but it pulls in commercial. So if you're working on both sides of the equation, here it is, take advantage of it. So it's RPR, Realtor's Property Resource. And you would just choose this for residential and look at the tools that are offered to you by the National Association of Realtors. And once again, it's all free. It's a tool that you're going to be using time and time again. So going back to this, and you see the CRMLS icon is already there. We're going to create a transaction. We're going to create a transaction in RPR. So I'm going to pick on this address. Oh yes, there it is. 23.
I'm sorry, and Leo, you mentioned this being a great tool in the sense of quickly and easily making a transaction even after a listing presentation, correct?
Yes. So, and you can also use this tool prior to doing a listing presentation because it provides a lot of information that's going to help you when you do that one-on-one with your client, with your new potential new client. Like for example, this home I grew up in for the first 5 years of my life. Mom and dad bought it for $17,000, and they sold it. They sold it in the 70s. I think they sold it for $79,000. Now you go from $17,000 to $79,000. Mom and dad were like, wow, we made some serious money, because that was some serious money back then. Well, let's take a look at the property. 2316 is on a hill, literally, and you can see a big number there. It's valued a little bit higher than $79,000. It's $1.4 million. Oh, $1.4 million. What a beautiful home it was. I mean, it was on a hill. And since it was on a hill, we actually had a basement and the window had a view of the ocean from far away. So, and we'd see the Goodyear blimp come by. It was, love it. Oh, just beautiful. Anyways, enough about that. We're going to poke this in just a moment, but I just want to show you about RPR. It's a 5-bedroom, 1-bath, so it's kind of unusual. 1,048 square feet, 7,510 square feet. These are the individuals that bought it from my parents. Oh, there it is, 68,000. 68,000 is still a serious amount of money. So yes, and gives you some information there. Hasn't been in MLS, you know, hasn't been sold since the 70s. This is the school district I told you about. So great schools in that area. And of course, gives you information about median home values. So this will be great information if you're going to share this with your potential client. AARP has recently been added to this to show you these categories that might be appealing and easy to understand for your potential clients to look at. So housing, 1.4 million is kind of hard to say it's affordable. A neighborhood, it's nice. You know, you get close to the beach relatively, just a short bike ride away, short bus ride away. So it's not bad near the shopping centers, clean air because this offshore breeze goes in and clears out the air. It's a pretty nice area. And you get information about how big it is, walkability. Yeah, there's not a lot of markets nearby. You have to go for a serious walk, but it's not bad. Parcel number, tax information, mortgage information. So a lot of information there. Sometimes you won't find the mortgage information because perhaps they don't have a mortgage on it. So once again, this is this beautiful, inexpensive home that my parents bought way back in the, what was it? 67, I believe. Yeah, 67. And no, it was 69. Yeah, 1969. So here it is. So how do we create a transaction? We're going to come over here to Lone Wolf and connect with Lone Wolf. Now, when you do so, it's going to require you to log into zipForms using your CAR credentials, your CAR user ID, your CAR password. You'll be prompted to do so. Once you do so, then they will be connected. So you want to start with CRMLS, connecting over to RPR, then connecting over to zipForms. And then all those three will work together to help you create a fantastic listing presentation. So start a new zipForm transaction. Oh, before we do that, just if you want to create reports, you can do a property report, seller's report, and so on. These are the different reports that you can be able to do. That's going to be another class that you want to sign up for in the future with us. But it's a fantastic tool. Take advantage of learning how to use RPR for your benefit. So we're going to start with start a new zipForm transaction. So we have to choose a category. Well, in this case, we're going to represent David, and he's going to be selling the house. So we click it as listing, and we click OK. It says here, you have successfully created this transaction in zipForm. Go to zipForms. And now we wait. Okay, and we give it a moment. And then we can click continue. Mind you, I have high-speed internet, so it's supposed to be relatively quick. So this is something great that I have to share with you. It auto-populated all that information from RPR into our zipForm account. The address, the lot number, look at this, the zip code, the school district. Imagine the old way you had to be able to pull information from various areas from the internet to be able to put this all together. The house was built, a wooden house built in 1936. You can input more information here if you wanted to. If they had HOAs in this area, you can be able to put that information there, etc. So this is information that you can review, but at the very least, you have pulled in this information that you're going to need, especially that APN number. So the parties are David, and it looks like David's going to need an email address. Let's see. Let's give him the email address of Leo for work and save it. Then we're going to need documents. Look at, there's no documents there. So we're going to throw in some documents. Let's go, instead of being in EPUBs, I have to be in the CAR one because I want a cover sheet. How about a residential listing agreement? SPQ maybe? Yeah, SPQ, seller's property questionnaire, seller property questionnaire. And we'll stop right there. We can add a lot more forms, but I'm just showing you how to use the software. So as we could see, I created this transaction using zipForms. Excuse me, using RPR. So there it is, 2316 Hill Lane, just now. And if you want to review it, parties, there's David, documents, the 3 documents that we put together. And then you can add checklists, etc. to it. And so RPR is just a great tool. I can't brag about it enough. I really can't. So, that was a lot of talking there. Share function. Oh, sharing is caring. This is going to be a different topic altogether. This is like a different part of zipForms that you're going to be using.
Leo, before we start with the share, are there any questions on RPR or how to make a transaction from RPR? By the way, did you show them in zipForms? You can actually access RPR from zipForms?
Yes. Boom. So once they're connected, you can just go boom. Now it's in the transaction page and you can be able to see it. So there it is.
Awesome.
Let's see. Right there, transactions, click view RPR, and boom. Of course, you would have, when you initially do this, you have to link the account if you do it for the first time.
Now, Matt Ruttenberg asked, on RPR, what button did you hit in order to start a transaction?
Oh, once we go to RPR, let's get out of this. This button right behind my face. Move this out of the way. So if you see here, there's the address, and we're on the summary page. We scroll down a little bit underneath the address, underneath the map, and it's this one right here. Transaction zipForm connect. Once I connect it, it goes to a different screen asking you if you want to do a listing, a purchase, etc. You would make the choice, and then from there, will connect to zipForms.
And then when you click on connect, you just say start a new transaction.
Yep, there it is.
And proceed from there. Matt says thanks.
You're welcome. You can also do a lease if you wanted to. Yes. Beautiful, beautiful home. Well, it's modest. It's not a beautiful home, just happy memories.
And what's nice about all this is that you don't have to create a transaction from scratch. Most of the tax data information will be automatically placed on a contract. When you do add contract information in, did you show them that, Leo?
Let's show you residential listing agreement. Let's take a look.
So this is a great and easy way. Look, we've got the homeowner's name already placed on the contract. If the property was vested in a trust or an LLC, that's already placed there. You're also going to see the property address. So this is a great way of being able to fill things in quickly and easily and make the transaction. So again, when you're dealing with that vital listing presentation and you need to get contracts done right away, this is a great tool for that.
It is. It's going to, like I can't emphasize it enough, it's going to save you so much time and energy rather than looking at different pieces throughout the internet to put this together. Just unite the 3 big tools, RPR, CRMLS, and zipForms. You put those together, it's going to make life so much easier for you. And as you see here within the residential listing agreement, the RLA form, there's the APN number, the assessor parcels number right there. The address, zip code. Yes, it's in LA County too. For those that don't know, Redondo Beach. It's kind of a cool place to go to. I like it. And there's an old-fashioned seafood place that you should visit as well. Let's see. Enough about Redondo Beach. Which I do is sharing that information. So that's a segue into the share function. Share function. It's compatible for video, audio chats, screen share. It's going to deter wasting time and energy going back and forth to figure out misunderstandings. For mentors, this is a perfect tool to use to be able to help out your new agents understand how to use zipForms and how to complete certain contracts. It's a great teaching tool. And then you can also share multiple contracts and forms if you needed to. In this demonstration, I'm going to share how to use the seller's property questionnaire with the actually the transaction we just created with David. Let's go to that. So here's a 2316 we just did, Hill Lane. And then we look at, oh, this one. Okay, so let's go back to parties. And let's go ahead and minimize it. I mean, let's make it smaller. Let's go look at parties again. Now, when you're in the party section, this is where they have decided, zipForms has decided to put the share function. They put it here, but they also put it down here. So these three people together mean you're going to share. So if you click either one of them, the result's going to be the same. If you click share, you see that David is going to be the person you're going to share this with. He has an email address. He's comfortable receiving emails on a computer. He has a computer, and he's also comfortable doing electronic signatures as well. I am going to give him the ability to edit the form. I am going to give him the ability to upload the document. This is for the seller's property questionnaire, and I'll explain why in just a moment. And he can, and then I'm going to choose a sharing time frame, not July of next month. I am going to say, June 17th today. I'm only giving him till Sunday. I want this done ASAP. I got things to do. I got people to see. So June 20th. Oh wait, that's Father's Day. All right, we'll change it. Okay, we'll make it the 22nd. Okay, give him a couple days extra. So I want this done ASAP, and I'll go over this with him. The form that I want him to complete would be the seller's property questionnaire, this one. And I'll show you why that's important. I'm going to click Save and Send. zipForm's automatically populated that the email address for David. The subject is this. You can change it if you want to. And then you can put an extra notation here if you wanted to. Don't sign anything unless I give you advice or whatever. I'm going to leave that alone for a moment. I'm going to click Send. So I'm clicking Send out to David. Now I'm just waiting for David to get it. David's already been called by the agent, me, and I've already notified him that don't sign anything, don't fill out anything until I go over this with you. I want you to understand what all this means. Because David is not exactly a computer engineer. David knows a lot, but let's just let David know that I am here to be able to walk him through this process, because I don't want him to make any mistakes, because this will create problems for me in the future as well as for him. So here it is. David has received this email, and it says that the agent, Leo, is going to share this document, and I want him to view it. Now, David's been invited to create a Zip community account. I want you to warn David about this, because he may think it's some kind of promotion stuff. No, he needs to create a Zip community account in order for him to be able to share share this form back and forth. Now, he has the chance to be able to share it with his Facebook account or his Google Plus account, or create an account. Now, from my perspective, as well as Anthony's, we're not comfortable with an outside entity like Facebook or Google Plus, that they're getting information, data that he's doing a real estate transaction. It's none of their business. We don't know how much data is being shared with Facebook or Google Plus. So to protect my client and my client's data, because I'm doing my fiduciary duty, I'm going to recommend that he's going to create an account. So I go ahead and do so. Now, for some reason, this populated the wrong way. First name and last name got flipped. I don't have the ability to change that, but what I do have the ability to is, if I'm David, David's looking at this like, why did they flip? Like, I don't know. That should not be the case, but we're going to go with David Redondo. And then 1. So that's his username, David Redondo 1. That's his email address. New password, and new email address. New password. And of course, whoops, he has to make sure he puts in the right one twice in a row, and he has to create an account. Now, I've been using the same email address over and over again, so that's why I'm getting this little message. You should not be getting this message, but I'm going to continue. I'm going to say continue with this email, and then create an account. There we go. And I'm not going to save it to the browser. So this is important. Let David go ahead and review this. These are some of the rights he's going to has to be aware of, so he has to go through this and understand it. Let me make it a little bit smaller. Do you see? There we go. So he goes through this. He can download it. He can print it if he wants to. I would recommend that you go ahead and download it onto your screen, or you can even have a hard copy, so that way you can read it beforehand, and it's readily available in case David has a question on that. You can be able to explain that to him. After he's read it, you can click as I have read and agree to the terms of the lone wolf, and he can click continue as long as he's okay with this. So this here is letting David know that my agent, Leo, is available by email and by phone. So I can definitely reach out to Leo in case David has any questions about the transaction. That's one of the great things about Zip Community, zipForms. Here we go. So I'm going to click Documents. There's the one document there. Now, from David's perspective, these little purple areas, he can't do anything with it because it's editable by the agent. What does that mean? If I go into zipForms, oops. If I go into zipForms, let me go back, transactions. If I go into the account, if I go into documents, if I go into the seller's property questionnaire, and we go all the way to the top, see, this is the information I can be able to edit. But if I scroll down, I see all this gray area. I cannot edit this. This has to be edited by seller one. And seller one is David. So there's nothing I can do to help him finish it on his behalf. In fact, I should not be telling him what to write down. I should hear what he's saying and just verify his information to be true by asking him questions. And I'll explain that to you in just a moment. So I can edit this information, but over here, I cannot as the agent. So going back, David's looking at this, and this is where David can be able to do some changes here. Within the last 3 years, has there been a death of an occupant? No. And David's going to go through this. Has it been contaminated by methamphetamines? No. We're going to go through all this, but let's go look at some meat and potatoes here that you want to be aware of. Oops, I'm missing something. Oh, there you go. Structural systems. Water softener, the leasing of any of the, no, there's no water softener. Alternative septic tank, no.
But if you were to answer yes on any of those, you can write in the explanation, correct,
yes,
Leo?
That is correct. Any alterate, let's see, write down. Large game room basement. I'm putting that in there. And then I guess that's pretty much it. I'll just leave it at that.
Now this is also good for the TDS, the transfer disclosure statement, or the ESD, which is the, what is it? I think it's called the estimated seller's disclosure. Basically, the TDS is required just like the SPQ if the homeowner lives on the property. Those are types of forms, or these are the types of forms that they have to fill out themselves. So as Leo was just explaining, it's a quick and easy way of getting them to fill out the form. We can then review it, correct, Leo?
Correct. So if we look at all these things that he has checked in, David, we can review it on our end. So if I click save over here, to remind Dave to click save. So that way all the information he has put here, now I as the agent, I can be able to review it on my end. So I would look on my end over here at the actual contract. Let me back up and refresh it. Oh, that's not the right form. That's okay. There we go. I can now see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit because it's kind of hard to see. This gray area has the check boxes here. So I'm reviewing it and looking at like, okay, good. He checked that. And let's say he checked everything in. But then I remember, you know, when I went to go visit him, I saw this big dog. Pets on or in the property. I'm like, you know, I remember seeing a big dog and it'd be like, David? And that's Leo? Yes. Like, David, do you have a big old dog still? I'm like, yeah, Fluffy. You're like, well, in section 10, you didn't answer that question. See, this is why this is perfect for this. You can catch the errors now because you don't want this to be a part of the signature session at one time, because once there's an error message, then you have to send another signature session all over again with the same forming. More errors could happen. It's better to work out the kinks here. And once you get this done, then you can be able to save it and then send it out to David later on for signature. So yeah, so what's David going to do? Section 10. No problem. So Dave goes to section 10. I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I'm sorry. My mistake. Let's look for that dog. There it is. Yes, a dog. No livestock. No, I have a clean house. No, it's clean. And that's it. No disputes. No. See, he's finished it. And then I click save. And then Leo, the agent, says, okay, let's take a look. Refresh it. Go back in. Section 10 clearly shows that he has a pet on the property. And all these other questions have been answered. Perfect. That's all I'm looking for. And then now I can be able to set up for signing if I wanted to, e-sign, and I could see, yep, there it is. And I can start the whole process of sending it out for him to sign. But I don't want to send it out to him until he's answered all the questions. So this is the reason why you want to use the share function. And once again, where do you find the share function? Well, it's within the transaction, and you want to look at parties. Let me zoom out a little bit. And you're probably more familiar with seeing a share or here, share. And that's how you would do it. Whew, that was a mouthful. And then when our dear friend is done, you can just go back to the dashboard. Yeah, he's done. And you can sign out. Sign out. There we go. Okay, so that was sharing. Sharing is caring. Any questions? Because that's the last slide.
Any questions at all?
I think there's one more thing I want to show. If we have time.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, lots of time. Oh my goodness gracious me. Okay, why don't we do this? Let's go back out. So I'm going to go into a previous transaction that we did. Documents. Did I have it here? There we go. Agent visual inspection. This is a good tool to use, and I forgot to talk about in the first class. But let's say, oh, let's pick on something. Bathroom, number one.
What tool are you going to show us today, Leo?
I'm going to show you how to add a photo.
Wow, really? You can add photos to a contract?
You can. It's crazy. I know you can add a photo, but let me explain. So when you do the agent visual inspection, you're going to be first read all this information before you continue. Once you read it, it's going to be what you see. Now you're not going to be specific, too specific, because you don't have all the information there. If you see a stain on the carpet, you don't know if it's a water stain, a chemical stain, a blood stain, you don't know what it is. You just describe it as stain. That's it, stain.
And why is that? Is that because of risk?
Definitely because of risk. Because if you label it as a blood stain, then it turns out just to be rust, then you've, yeah, you've created some drama that you didn't need to.
So the photos feature, how is this going to help an agent?
Let me show you. So we're going to write down toilet. Toilet cannot be used properly. Okay. You're like, what does that mean? I have no idea what that means until you see a photo. So on these three dots where it says more, I'm going to click photo. I'm going to attach a photo. And I'm going to look for a photo. And there is the photo, and I will show it to you.
Well, when you click on it, yeah.
And then, boom. See, it shows up right here. So I'm going to drag it all the way down to here, to that section. Oops. And you'll see that photo 1 is there. And in case you're wondering, like, okay, so what does that mean to me? I don't know what that looks like. Let's look at the preview. Okay, agent visual inspection. This is what I wrote down for the bathroom. Toilet cannot be used properly. Kind of weird. I don't know what that means until you look at the image. Oh, yeah, that's not going to be usable. That's a bad install. So, half bath wrong. So, as you're using your eyes to walk through this property and you're using your smartphone taking photos, just make sure that you're recording what you see that should be notated, and you can input all this information there. For example, the entry. Should we use the entry? Yeah, the entry. Sure. Entry. It's
about the rain gutters.
Rain gutters. Rain gutters. Rain gutters do not drain. And I just misspelled. I did a word run on. And I live with an 8-year-old, so I have to make sure I spell everything correctly. Otherwise, she'll get me later. Do not drain. And then you're like, what are you talking about? Rain gutters don't drain? I never heard of such a thing. Photo. Attach a photo. Let's go look. Rain gutter. And honestly, Anthony, when I first saw this, it took me a while to figure this one out too. I was like, what are you talking about, dude? I really had to look at it. So photo 1 now is the rain gutters, which is on the top. Photo 1 used to be this one. Now it's been changed to photo 2. In case you're wondering what photo 1 looks like, let's take a look. Once again, we'll go to preview. And it's going to allow us to load it up. So that way we can be able to see this AVID form. There it is. Rain gutters do not drain. Photo 1. I never heard of such a thing. Okay, and also, by the way, toilet cannot be used properly. Photo 2. So we go down and rain gutter. That's a rain gutter? I mean, literally. But where's the draining? Yeah, no. Rain gutter wrong. So you want to be specific about, you want to keep it general, but you don't want to be too specific. Yes. Half bath wrong.
So something like this is great for when you see something in a property that's just really hard to describe, or that you're needing to be limited in its description. You can now snap a photo of that problem or issue and attach it to your contract, and now you have done the proper disclosure. Because Leo, if I as your buyer see something like this, what does this allow me to do possibly?
I may want to say that I need the property checked out. Like, for example, I'm doing this right now for a patio. Excuse me, a patio. Patio stain. Patio stain at patio sill. And if I'm like, what are you talking about? So once I see something that's concerning me, like the rain gutters, for example. The rain gutters, like, come on, that needs to be taken down. That's just a joke. Like, rain gutters do not drain. Seriously, that needs to be taken down. Stain at patio sill. I don't understand what that is. I'll look that up in just a moment. Bathroom, come on. Come on. That's something that's been talked with the sellers. Like, come on, this has to be resolved. There's just, that's no. You advertise that you have rain gutters, and that's not, no. And then you notice this. If this was a patio windowsill, patio entry door, and you notice that there's a stain, try to keep it as general as possible. I put it as stain. I don't know if it's water stain. I don't know if it's a chemical stain. I don't know if somebody spilled a Slurpee on there. I don't know. I just know that there's a stain on there. So I kept it as a general statement, stain, because I don't want to be providing wrong information and might get in trouble for that. So just keep it as general as possible. I mean, it looks like it probably drained water in there, but I'm not an expert. I'll just keep it as stain. That would make me concerned because I would want to know how much other water damage has occurred in this area. That makes me nervous. And then, of course, come on. Come on. So that'll be a conversation to have with the seller, and they have to, and we'll have to negotiate how to get that resolved. Yeah. So agent visual. So that's how to add photos, and it just makes it, honestly, when you add a photo, it saves a lot of typing to help people understand, like, there is a problem with a specific area at this listing or this site. Because honestly, our eyes can just say, yeah, that looks like a problem with the toilet. Or yeah, that looks like a little stain on the window area. Yeah, so that's a tool that I came out that I wanted to let you know about, because I want you to be able to save time and energy, especially when you're doing a walkthrough or whatever. You're going to notice these weird things like take a photo, upload it into your zipForm is when the situation arises. And once again, that's within go in the contract itself. Sometimes you'll see 3 dots, sometimes you'll see it listed, and you click title and click a photo, and you can attach photos. So, etc. Support beam. Oh yeah, this is a number. This is a weird one too. Oh, it's up there. Okay, fine. We'll go up there.
And that's because you weren't fully on the other page.
Yeah, so that's a boo-boo that I purposely showed off. No, that's not true. I made a boo-boo. But I wanted to show you that if this is in the dining room, damage to support beam. Okay. And this photo is now photo 2. So that became photo 3. Actually, the better wording is patio window. There we go. So now if I do preview, you will understand. So try to be specific, but not too specific. Rain gutters do not drain. Damage to support beam. Stain at patio window. Toilet cannot be used properly. And then you'll see with the images, yeah, that doesn't drain. Come on, seriously. And then the support beam, what did you do? What? That's holding up the whole floor or the whole house, the whole structure. What did you do? And then the other part, okay, that's an ugly stain. And then last but not least, come on. I just can't say that enough. Come on. Okay, enough about that. So that's how you add a photo to an inspection, which will help communicate things that people should be aware of out to a potential, either out to your buyer, out to the seller, etc. All right. Any other questions that you have for me today, please?
Anybody have any questions? Don't make it easy on Leo. Ask him the hard stuff.
And honestly, if nothing comes to mind right now, which is okay, you have a video that we recorded and you can be able to watch this back. But if there are any questions that arise when you're doing a transaction, you're like going, should have asked that question. I didn't know to ask that question because I'm running into it now as in a transaction. Go ahead and reach out to us, whether it be myself or Anthony or CAR support or Zip Logics. Any one of us can be able to assist you with that question. There are some questions that Anthony and myself we cannot answer. For example, legal questions. Is this the right form to use in a given situation? Technically, I can't tell you because I'm not professionally trained to answer that question. I can show you how to use the software to your advantage, to be able to take advantage of to completing these forms and contracts, but I can't tell you what form to use in a given situation. Yes.
So far, no questions, Leo.
Wow. All of you are amazing. Now, one thing, don't go yet. Help. Help is right here. If it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm not answering the call. But the Learning Center is here. So do take advantage of the Learning Center. Do read about, if you have questions like, how do I turn off the pop-up blocker? Maybe this will help you. So basic information to better assist you. Also under help, in-app guided help. So you can launch a Learning Center. There's quick tips you can go through. No quick tips for the screen, that's fine. But maybe in other screens there are. Send us feedback. You have live training. You also have, let me get out of that screen. There are videos which you can watch that are offered by zipForms. We have our own source of videos that we created on our website, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you have some questions, you need help. This information is at your fingertips. So do take advantage of it. And in case you're wondering, like, well, how about my board? Do they have information to be able to assist me? Well, yes, we do. Under education, under, library. So once again, that's education, video library. We have lots of information we put together for Supra, zipForms, MLS. We click zipForms, for example. A lot of the videos that we have there are of previous classes that we've taught. So, and Anthony really does a fantastic job of putting these videos together. And why is it I keep seeing my beard in all these images? Oh, that's me. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, but there's Anthony there too. So if you need a refresher on some of the things that you may are like, I probably just need spend an hour or two, or actually another hour just to go over zipForms, by all means, take advantage of these videos and rehearse these fictitious transactions you're going to be sending to yourself over and over again, so that way you get it down. All right. I hope that covers any potential questions that you may have in the future.
It looks like everybody's got no questions. So I guess, Leo, thank you very much for giving us this training today. Oh, wait a minute. Matt goes, wait, what is it, Matt? What's your question?
Do ask, please, Matt.
This is at the Orange County Realtor website. Yes, the videos can be found on our Orange County Realtors website. Leo, how do you get to that? How do you get to our website again?
Let's go into it again. Okay, you know what? Just do it fresh. Orange County Realtors. So we go into the drop-down menu of education. Once again, the website's ocrealtors.org. ocrealtors.org. This is what our main page looks like right here. We'll maybe changing that pretty soon, but on our main page of ocrealtors.org, you see it right there. Under education, a lot of choices here. You can look at a calendar for upcoming classes, but you're also going to click for video library. And you're going to scroll down and you're going to see zipForms. Click that. And then I encourage you to watch these videos over and over again, so that way my video and Anthony's video can be the most popular videos on our website. Because if you look here, most watched playlists. Oh, well, we could beat that. Yeah, we could beat that. Yeah, we'll have more videos than anybody else. So But in all seriousness, the videos are there to be able to assist you with your zipForm questions. It's a refresher. And you can do it. Click play, and you're doing a split window. Have another window just for practicing, and so that way you can be able to try to copy what I did or Anthony did and try to create your own fictitious account and send it out to yourself. So that way, I mean, fictitious transaction and send it out to yourself. So that we can see both sides, what you're going to see as an agent and also what you're going to see as a client.
And you're welcome, Matt.
CAR support's available in case you have any problems. They're available usually weekdays, and I think they have a little limited weekend service. Normally weekdays is from 9 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. 213-739-8227. ZipLogics. If you're having problems with the software itself, just like CAR support, CAR support can do more so about handling membership issues from the perspective of working with zipForms. But if you have just problems with the software itself, ZipLogics, 586-840-0140, Monday through Friday, 24 hours, weekends, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time.
Awesome.
CAR Legal, in case you have any legal questions, because we can't answer your legal questions, reach out to them, 213-739-8282, and they can be able to assist you with those questions.
And Leo, Mark goes, good class on how to organize the desktop. So maybe that's something that we could look into on how to better organize your desktop for your real estate business. Sure, we can do something like that. That would be a quick 15-20 minute little tutorial for sure.
Yeah, I agree. We could probably put a video together and put it up on our library so that way you can be able to review it when you need to.
Exactly.
Excellent. Great idea. Great idea. Thank you.
Well, we want to thank everybody for today. Thank you very much for spending time with us. And if you've been here all day since 10:30, thank you for being with us today. Hopefully you learned a lot of great, fun information. Thank you again, Leo, for this awesome training class today. I know for sure all of our agents that attended today really got a lot out of this. Again, everybody, we are recording today's webinar. Everybody will get a copy of today's recording. And Leo, if someone were to want to get in touch with you, how would they do that if they had any further questions?
They call Anthony. No, I'm playing. I'm just joking. Okay, I'm sorry. All right. So
you guys could call me. That's fine. As I just yawned.
You're like, no, don't call me. No, I'm just kidding. My email is there. leo@ocrealtors.org, or you can call me and put extension 239. So if it's the 714 number, it's 714-375-9313. If you have a speed dial on your phone, the Laguna Hills location, 949-586-6800. And if it comes on, just press 239. That'll be the same extension, either case. So you'll get a hold of me. And please leave a voicemail. If I don't answer for whatever reason, maybe I'm talking to another agent, helping them with their questions, and I'll call you back as soon as I possibly can. If you want to send me an email, please do so.
Definitely. And thank you guys very, very much. Hopefully you will get to practice this. And if you have any questions, please feel free to call us or email us anytime, and we'll be more than happy to help out. And with that said, thank you all very much. I hope you all have a great and wonderful day. Stay cool and dry out there, and we will talk to you all very, very soon.
All right. Have yourself a great week.